My video for November 25th, 2017 is entitled My High-Speed Rail, Females, and Trump Dream. Dreams do not have to make sense. In fact, they rarely do. As I woke up this morning, I rolled over and looked at the clock. It was 2:22. The dream I was having was still fresh in my mind. I lay there for over an hour, pondering the weird, seemingly disconnected elements. There was a single passenger high-speed rail in which I was the one on board at one time. There were various females riding the rail at other times. And finally, Donald Trump was the passenger riding this strange train. The destination was not clear to me. Dreams seldom make sense to my rational mind, which is why they sometimes fascinate me as I try my best to figure out some relevant meaning. Of course, I never know for sure if my analysis even comes close to being true, or even if there is any correct meaning. Anyway, the saying comes to me, "May we live in interesting times." Isn't that a traditional Chinese curse? Is the Trump dream actually a nightmare? I guess it depends on how it plays out, like everything else in this world. Last night, I once again was at the group Friday night group where we often discuss politics, and of course Trump is a major part of that discussion. And at least some of us there, some people that are part of the group are very much behind Donald Trump. Some of us are very skeptical of Donald Trump, and myself included. And I don't know if there's anybody that's actually neutral. I don't know where everybody stands that comes to the group. I mean, it's different attendance. Sometimes we've got good attendance, sometimes it's not so good. But in any case, Trump is certainly an enigmatic character, and lots of us are trying to figure out which side he's on. He's aligned his cabinet and his associates with people that seem to be pro-Israel, which to me, as I've said in other videos, is a warning sign, a danger sign, because as I see it, the fake Jews that run the financial system and, of course, are behind the nation of Israel, do not have a positive agenda for humanity. I mean, their agenda is control. It's not freedom. They are liars. They are deceivers. They are charlatans of the worst kind. And yet they've been allowed to rise to a position in this world where they seem to be in control. Yet, are they in control? It's interesting that the high-speed rail, I know when I felt that I was on it, I wasn't directing it. It was making shifts. The tracks were shifting and going off and to the right. At least at one time in the dream, it made not a sharp right turn, but it veered off to the right. The tracks, I could see in the dream, the tracks moved, and the train, instead of going straight, curved to the right. What does that mean? You know, is there significance to moving to the right as opposed to the left? I don't have the answer to that. I don't have the answer to a lot of things. And who were all of these strange women that seemed to be in the dream? I mean, I recognized one of them. I'm not going to identify that person, but there were times that there were others that I wasn't exactly sure who they were, but there were several of them, and I thought, does this mean there's going to be romance in my future? You know, I'm not looking for that, but if something proper came along, I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd be happy, because that would mean that my life was on a path that was hopeful. And it's not been on a hopeful path for some time now because of the political and economic situation in the world and all of the confusion that humanity is faced with. And as far as how you're going to take this this Trump dream, is it a nightmare? Well, it could be a nightmare for those that want to control everything, if in fact he is draining the swamp as he promised. But I don't believe politicians ever keep their word, and I don't believe that presidents are actually the ones that make the decisions. So there's a lot of unanswered questions that are in my mind, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that wrestles with these concepts. And the high-speed rail indicates that it's moving very fast. That's the interpretation that I would give it, because it was definitely not a normal train going choo 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 choo. You know, it was not that kind of train, even though they may seem like they're moving fast. The trains actually move quite slowly, even compared to automobiles. And I imagine they don't move much faster than some bicyclists. But we are definitely in an interesting time. And as I said, I Googled that. I didn't think of it being a Chinese curse when it came to me, but I Googled it. I thought, where does that thought come from? And it's a Chinese curse. And nobody knows exactly where it came from. But we don't know how things are going to play out. There's so much upheaval going on in this world. There's so many people some are trying to put it in one direction, put things going in one direction. Some people are trying to do it in the opposite direction. And it's not about conservative or liberal. It's not about Democrat or Republican. It's not about even right and wrong. Everybody has a dream, an agenda, a destination where they would like their lives to go. Don't we? Don't we all have an idea of what we want out of what we call life? I know I do, and I think that probably most everybody does, if not everybody. And yet I've watched videos where the program of the establishment is to not simply just monetize everything, but program everything so that they put chips in our body and we actually don't even think our own thoughts. And people that are constantly with the cell phone in the hand, and that is a mind control thing to me. That's why I choose to keep my cell phones I don't put them on my body very often at all. I keep them in my car most of the time. Sometimes I bring them inside to recharge them here, because I have two phones, believe it or not. One of them was given to me. One of them I pay for, and the other one is free. And I took the free one when it was offered, even though I already had one that I pay quarterly, not monthly. But in any case, folks, as you can tell, if you're paying any attention at all, there's a lot of strange things going on in our world. There are diametrically opposite points of view being portrayed as if that is the reality. But what is real? This is the question that I'm left with again and again and again. What is real? People say everything's just an illusion. Well, if it's an illusion, why bother? Why bother with it? It's a curse then. And I would go along with the Chinese idea of it being a curse in interesting times. I would like nothing more than to reach a point where we move in a positive direction. Will that happen? Your guess is as good as mine. I hope so. Anyway, namaste.